Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so today we need to take a look at some new trademarks that have gone and been filed for the Pokémon trading card game. And I'm going to tell you what I always tell you with this. We don't know for 100% certain that these are actual trademarks that are going to be for Pokémon TCG sets. They are trademarks that have been filed in Japan. They have been filed in a place that usually leads to TCG set names, but there's no guarantee that these are 100% set names. However, I'm just going to tell you what I always tell you. You know, at the moment we're doing reveals for Snow Hazard and Clayburst. That is the Japanese set which comes out in just over a week and a half. And there was a time when I came on and told you that Snow Hazard and Clayburst were trademarks that had been filed for the Pokémon TCG. Incidentally, also told you they were Ting Lu and Chen Pao, so I'm giving myself a bit of a pat on the back for that one. But the point is, that happened. That was a thing, and they were actual real TMs that were a thing. Before that, we had Triple Beat, which was clearly a trademark that was gone and posted over in Japan, and that ended up being a set as well. We could keep doing this, but I'm hoping by now you get the point. Yes, it is possible that this is nothing, or it's something completely unrelated, but I work with, the lovely Primal, Lugia, and people like that when looking at this, and our hit rate is spectacular. I don't think we've been wrong yet, so just putting it out there that no, this is not guaranteed or confirmed or anything like that. It is just a trademark that's been filed. However, trademarks filed in this way over in Japan, they turn into sets. That just happens over and over again. And what we've got here is Wild Force and Cyber Judge. Nice. Now, this is where it gets kind of interesting, because when I think about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and I think about Cyber Judge and Wild Force, that kind of sounds like Cyber, well, that's all futuristic and robot-y, and Wild Force, well, hang on a second, that sounds kind of old school and jungly, which seems to suggest Paradox Pokemon. And let's be clear, right? That is our number one theory right now, that it is a set for Paradox Pokemon. That just makes way too much sense. And we'll get into that in a minute, but I've got to remind you about a couple of other trademarks we looked at recently, and that is Flash of the Future and Ancient Roar. Now, Flash of the Future and Ancient Roar, I'm going to be 100% real with you. There is no chance they're not Paradox Pokemon. Like, it literally has Future and Ancient in the set names. There is no chance they are not Paradox Pokemon sets. I am 100% convinced. I don't see any realistic way that they are anything other than Paradox Pokemon. I refuse to believe that at this stage. So then that does give us an interesting conundrum a little bit, and that is to say that we seem to have a couple of sets based around these Paradox Pokemon. Okay. So then we get to the question of, well, is that particularly unusual? Is this something which we generally wouldn't see coming? And the answer is, no. This about makes sense. Now remember when we had Sword and Shield, we didn't have an equivalent set of legendary Pokemon, so we have to go back to Sun and Moon to see this kind of stuff. But in Sun and Moon, if we look at the Ultra Beasts as an example, and I know they're not exactly the same, but this helps to illustrate my point quite nicely. If we look at the Ultra Beasts, they were introduced in the third set, Crimson Invasion, and, the clue is very much in the name, and this is where the Ultra Beasts come in. We had stuff like Buzzwole, Nihilego, and Guzzlord. We had a whole bunch of them, and it was lovely. We then had Ultra Prism. Now, admittedly, Ultra Prism was really about your, Prism Star cards. But we still had your Dawnwings Necrozma and your Duskmane Necrozma. They were still very much in the set. And they are largely Ultra Beasts. It gets a little bit confusing, I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, as to exactly whether they are or they aren't. And there's a little bit of a differing thing between games. It all gets very confusing, but they are at least in a similar kind of category. All right? I have checked with the lovely Joe from Cerebi.net, who has told me yes. So Joe seems to know this kind of stuff, so let's just go for that. Also, right, in terms of the cards, It literally has Ultra Beast written on the card, so you can make all kinds of arguments over in certain games, but in terms of cards, it's pretty gosh darn simple. And then we could move forward one more to Forbidden Light, and Forbidden Light is, of course, the set which introduced us to Naganadel, who is very much an Ultra Beast, and Ultra Necrozma, who is very much an Ultra Beast. So, at least in the card game. So my point here is really simple, okay? We had 3 sets in a row in the Sun and Moon era which gave us Ultra Beasts and were not necessarily full-on Ultra Beast sets, although Crimson Invasion undoubtedly was, but introduced Ultra Beasts and had Ultra Beasts as kind of cards in the set, you know, the most important, the headline cards, so to speak. Ergo, I do think it is absolutely fair to point out that it seems like that could be the case here. So yes, and to be fair, we also, you know, we could even move forward to Celestial Storm, and we had Stack Attacker GX, which was very much a thing. Or we could have a little bit of a look at... Well, actually, to be fair, that was the only GX in the set, which is a little bit sad. But we did at least have Stack Attacker GX, like the only Ultra Beast GX, I mean. So my point here is really simple. Yes, it sounds like a Paradox Pokemon set. And yes, we have had we've got another Paradox Pokemon set coming presumably right before it. That doesn't mean this isn't another Paradox Pokemon set. I'm assuming we've basically got 2 in a row here. Scarlet and Violet 4 and Scarlet and Violet 5. We'll get to the release schedule properly in a minute. Don't worry about that. We good, ladies and gentlemen. We good. So, yeah. This kind of makes sense. Of course, one of the things you'll notice in the discussion on Ultra Beasts that I just had in the TCG is that we tended to go, well, we basically went, okay, let's move forward and do some new ones every set, some fancier ones. And let's not forget that we've got the new ones, the ones that just came out. We had Iron Leaves and Walking Wake. So it's absolutely possible that we get the Paradox Pokemon in Scarlet and Violet 4, and this new set gives us these 2. Maybe there's some more that need to be added in here. We don't know, but maybe that's going to be the case. And like I say, we'll go through the full list in a minute of sets we quote-unquote know about, but this is likely to be a January set. That is the most likely thing at the moment, assuming they're being revealed in order, which they tend to be. Let's assume this is a January set. Well, hang on a second. We've got Scarlet and Violet DLC coming. That's a thing. Not only do we have Scarlet and Violet DLC coming, we've got Scarlet and Violet DLC coming in fall 2023. And to be fair, also in winter 2023. So, yes, absolutely. This could be a set which is based on the DLC. Now, maybe it's a little bit too early, but there's blatantly going to be more Paradox Pokemon there. Maybe it could be in there. I don't know is the honest answer, but my personal guess is very simply, this is a second Paradox Pokemon set where they're going to be bringing in your Walking Wake and Iron Leaves and finishing up some they didn't get to before. So in terms of our release date then, what are we left with? Well, we're currently heading into Snow Hazard and Clayburst, which is Scarlet and Violet 2, coming on April the 15th. We also have an announcement and a confirmed release date for Pokemon Card 151, which is coming out on June the 16th and is Scarlet and Violet 2A. And this is where we then get into, we've seen trademark / distributor listings, and we're pretty sure, but let's not take anything for granted, territory. So Raging Surf, we assume is Scarlet and Violet 3, we assume is coming out in July. Japan seems to be on a set, 1 month later set, take a month off, so 2 months on, 1 month off cadence, which is where I'm getting these rough release dates from. So Raging Surf, Scarlet and Violet 3 seems to be coming in July. I'm assuming that's a Goldengo set, we don't know for certain. Ruler of the Black Flame is coming out in, we assume, September. Because with sets in June and July, we take August off. That is Scarlet and Violet 3A, and is going to feature a Darkness-type Terra Charizard. Again, this isn't official, but this is what we've heard. We've then got Flash of the Future and Ancient Roar, what is we assuming is going to be Paradox Pokemon sets, and that's going to be Scarlet and Violet 4, coming out in October. We've then got Shiny Treasure, which is the new V-Star Universe, your end-of-year fancy set, which is always a December set, let's face it. It'll be Scarlet and Violet 4A, and also, set in September and October, take November off, this makes perfect sense. So therefore, we would be right on course to have these new sets, these two new sets, Cyber Judge and Wild Force, coming out in January. We do not know this for certain, but the hit rate's been pretty good here, ladies and gentlemen, and I feel pretty good about this. So there we go. But now it's over to you guys. Tell me your predictions, tell me what you think, give me your ideas in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk Pokemon card games, all kinds of fun things. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, have lots of fun, and yeah, just generally, enjoy some Pokemon action. And get shoutouts on the channel, like the lovely Uber MX, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and is a very lovely person. So thank you very much to them for the support and for being a very lovely person. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.